Hello, everybody, and
Hello.
welcome to Fridays. Wow, Ergonomics. That's right. If it's Friday and it's midday, it can be one thing and one thing only. It's us talking about ergonomics. And we've got Shaun joining us today. Hi, Shaun.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, Shaun, as is customary on these things, we do invite people that come on as guests to begin with to tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do. So fire away.
Well, as you can probably see from the name, I go under the name of the behavior change coach. I've been a PT for over 12 years. And actually it was lockdown to force my hand to move to this field a little bit more. Because what I kind of saw from the coaching side of things, which I have a little bit of relationship via my sporting background as well, is coaching can provide so much more. And what I've noticed with my own transformational journey from self-development and weight struggles was PT isn't enough. Sometimes that's the PT's fault, and sometimes that's the investment point. People invest in the PT to train, to lift heavy deadlifts, and write a food plan. And what I know from my own experience, that wasn't enough. I was an overweight professional athlete. I was training 6 or 7 times a week intensely, thinking I was eating well. But my struggles were my behaviors, was my mindset. As I now know more about the mammal brain. So that's kind of shifted me into the field of actually, I believe in this process. I believe people can get quicker and, most importantly, more sustainable results from the point of where they invest, which is mindset, habits, behaviors, rather than just the workout in itself, even though exercise is very important. For the work that I do, it's something you should embrace rather than use as a weight loss tool or anything like that. So yeah, it's all kind of led, my journey has all led to this one moment of getting to talk to you two guys about this today.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, Shaun, Shaun, I was going to say, so me saying to my wife the other week, I'm going to try and run myself thin, isn't really ever going to happen, is it? From what you just said, that's basically kiboshed my plan for running.
No, but you get to run. You get to run because it makes you feel good. But yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people do still have that mindset of, I will train more, I will train harder. Don't make the same mistakes I did, because I was overweight playing a professional sport because I was trying to out-train my chronic midweek dieting. And then I was easily consuming way over 10,000 calories on a weekend to get me through my games. My body was saying, look, hey, it's not going to happen unless you give me that whole pack of Haribos and those 2 or 3 Lucozades and that huge pizza after the game. Yeah. We're not going to do it. So yeah, I had to learn the hard way, so you don't have to.
Okay, well, thank you.
It's particularly interesting. I mean, Shaun, the thing is that surely, though, I mean, if people are following a strict diet, then surely they must be losing weight. Just hold on a second. Just had to get the pastries. You want one? What where do people tend to start to go wrong? I mean, I've watched lots of programs on TV where it's fascinating that people seem to eat stuff that they don't even realize they are eating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the key word there is where you said strict diet. Our brain, in the most simplest term, is wired to survive. It's one purpose. Okay, we put ourselves in a restriction or anything that threatens that. It's very clever at flipping that around. We're not on an island. We're not in a savannah in a cave with no food anymore. We have an abundance of it, and your brain knows that, and it will let you get away with a little bit. Look, enough's enough. Being in a calorie deficit is hard. It's a hard thing for our brain to do because it's not getting its primary fuel source. So here I use a permission over restriction approach, because when you restrict something, it's a negative emotion, and food makes you happy. So negativity goes away very quickly with food, and then it comes back because we now have negativity with weight gain. So for me, I'm a huge advocate of diets don't work. Some people might not like this, but it has a huge implement in why we are struggling so much with weight gain. in today's world because we have a terrible relationship with food. Sins, naughty. So when's the last time you saw a croissant rob a bank? It never happens. They're not naughty. Okay. The pastries you have there, I would be telling my clients to go eat them. But I want to know why you're over consuming it. And that's kind of, I guess, you know, in a way, part of the topic of why we're here today.
Oh, Shaun, you've got to do a post on that sometime next week.
There's plenty of those out
you've
there.
You've got to do a post though that's called when did you last see a croissant rob a bank? That's the opening line.
I love the way Shaun said food makes you happy, and I looked at Graham and we were both smiling as if to say, yeah, we can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
It's like the old television song, isn't it? Food, it makes you happy. Well, it was tequila, wasn't it? But you know, food can be supplemented in there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We all love our food, you know, and we all want to eat food. And part of modern life as well is, as you say, food is so easily available everywhere. I mean, you can literally, from here, I can literally go out down the road, 5 minutes. There's Tesco's and Lidl's. Other supermarkets are available.
Yeah,
you know, and you could just fill your pockets. Up the road a little bit, there's another shop. It's almost like within any walking distance, there's a shop. And you know, and also we're stuck on these things all day long as well.
Yeah,
you know, it makes it incredibly difficult. You kind of in your head, you tick along all day long, going, well, I should go out now. I should do a walk. But of course, if you go and do a walk, you reward yourself.
Yeah,
because where you walk to is past somewhere which sells food. So I've done a bit of exercise now, so I can eat.
Yeah,
you know, it's just go on.
Yeah, a lot of that is the relationship with it, right? Like I said, you know, I always say to my client, nothing is off the table. Nothing. The you know, people who blame chocolate. Okay, cool. Do a test for me. Eat one chocolate bar a day and nothing else, just one, and see if you lose weight or gain weight. Now, common sense prevails. You're losing because you're in a huge calorie deficit. So then it's not the chocolate's problem. So then, but if somebody is consuming 3 or 4, okay, there's a reason behind that. Then is that burnout? Is that stress? Is that emotion? Is it that you've not eaten enough during the day? Are you dehydrated? There's always a deeper reason. And once you find that, what that half the time, literally the problems go away overnight. Yes, you have to then deal with the mammal brain and habit building, but you're clear now. You're clear on what was causing the overconsumption, so that you can then actually enjoy that chocolate bar guilt-free. You can eat a chocolate bar every day and live a happy life with no weight gain. But people will see the chocolate bar as naughty.
She says, I find eating to survive is a great mindset because it prevents gluttony.
Yeah, but that is exactly what you're doing. Every day is a performance.
Right.
You know, the 3 of us sitting here right now, we're performing, right? We are trying to do our best to give people the knowledge to thrive. So if I'm on 3 hours sleep, I've not eaten, I'm dehydrated, I'm not going to bring the energy. I'm not going to remember all the useful information to pass over. So my day is a performance. And I guess I see that from the hockey side of things, the sports side, that everything was about performance. And I brought that into business coaching, being a parent. It's all the same thing. Just that, you know, we don't have to go to the extremes if we're not doing it for sport.
Is hockey your main sport?
Yeah, so I played ice hockey from the age of 5.
Ice hockey. Wow.
Ice hockey, yeah.
That's not just hockey, that's ice hockey. Right?
That's the big one, the proper one. Sorry if there's any normal hockey players here.
Well, no, normal hockey's great. And actually, if you stand in the way of a ball when it's being fired at a goal, that hurts.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Susan to comment, because Susan's from Ontario, and obviously, obviously it's a huge ice hockey area. So I'm sure she's going to tell us who her team is. And
but ice hockey, I'm never going to be playing because I can't even stand up on ice. I've tried it so many times. Every time it's like, you know,
it's tough. Yeah.
It's tough. It's completely impossible. I don't have any balance whatsoever, so it just I can't even stay upright on a bicycle.
Well, there's a challenge for us. There's a challenge.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah.
Okay, can we bring hockey into the office? I mean, is there a point at which I say that in jest, but I also mean it seriously? I mean, is there a way in which we can actually bring more activity into sedentary areas, if you like? Because we say we talk all the time, don't we, Stephen, about get out, have your break, etc. One of the main reasons people working in offices, doing digital jobs, etc., don't take breaks is actually because there's nothing really for them to do. That is a massive issue.
Yeah.
When you say go and take a break, what does it mean? It means you move from your desk to over there where there's a little table and some soft seating, which is next to an eatery, and so you go and you eat.
Yeah.
So you take this little physical break away from your desk just to go and eat for 5 minutes or whatever. But do we need to start getting a bit clever? Do we need to start going, well, actually, we need to, years ago, I don't know whether you remember this, but just before I got to university, which was up in Sunderland, Nissan built the Sunderland car plant up in, do you remember that, right?
Yeah, Washington.
And there was video footage of them every morning, star jumping outside, right? They kind of brought physical fitness into the working space. Do we perhaps just need to do it a little bit more?
100%. The beauty is with exercise, it releases energy. You become more energized. I think what a lot of it is, we have a terrible relationship with it, whereas we see it a lot of time as punishment, because social media has said you've got to do this ab blaster 2000, and you've got to, if you don't puke or cry, you're not going to get results. And that's not what exercise is. And yeah, a lot of Japanese firms, and they use it quite a lot. I think a lot of the top companies in the world will have, breaks in the day, stand up at your desk, do some movements. They'll have somebody come in to run it. And it's very popular, but I guess a lot of people are like, I feel a bit silly doing this in my jeans or dress in the office. Well, realistically, are you more worried about looking silly or your health and your well-being? And if you're all doing it together, it can be fun. I saw a great video yesterday. It was a business mentor. Have you guys watched Friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen the clip where Ross gets stuck in the bathroom with his leather pants down?
The leather pants, and it's the talc and the leather pants. Yeah.
Okay, so we're all laughing, right? Put yourself in Ross's position. Imagine you're Ross right now. Terrified, panicking, horrid. And the way he described it is like, when you're going out and you're doing all these stuff that looks a bit silly and worried if people will laugh at you, when you're doing it, put yourself on the outside looking in. Put yourself on the outside in the enjoyment side of looking in at what you're doing. You're bringing laughter, happiness to other people. And once you see it from that side, that you're looking in at yourself, it's actually, you don't feel silly anymore.
No, I remember that. Next time I'm exercising in the office, I think people are looking at me thinking I look like a guy in tight leather pants with talcum powder.
I won't feel half as bad, will it?
It won't feel anywhere near as bad, will it?
So I guess the interesting thing there, Shaun, because obviously this show, the history of this was sort of born from the start of lockdown, really, where Graham and I got together and started doing this show, because our roles at the time became obviously quite difficult to sort of carry out with everything that was going on with lockdown, etc. So with that massive push of people to working from home now, how do people then, if there's not that organized group activity, what's the sort of approach or thought process around people having to take their own responsibility for bringing activity and exercise into their working day?
Great question.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because a lot of people see working from home as a less stressful environment, as we don't have to commute. The facts on burnout and the stats on that is actually it's 50% to 41 of people who work from home are claiming more burnout than the office workers at 41%.
Okay.
And a lot of that is, you should know that you need to take breaks. You should know that exercise is good for you. We all know this information. The problem, the bit that we have an issue with, is the actionable part. Now, again, we know what we should do, but we don't do it. And that's where your bigger purpose comes in. Eliminating surface level goals. I need to go for a walk. Cool, do that tomorrow. It falls in the same bracket of, I need to go to the shop and get shopping, or I need to make lunch at 12. That's where, going for a walk, taking a break, it's surface level. It's very easy for your brain, which your brain is a deleter. It's an energy saver. It's fantastic, but it's an energy saver. So it's gone. Got no reason to do that. That's too much effort. Whereas if you give it a purpose, okay, what's the reason I'm going for a walk? How will this change my life? Well, it's a stepping block to being healthier. Cool. Okay. Well, how will that change your life? Well, whatever. I get to walk my daughter down the aisle in 10 years' time. Okay. Well, how will that benefit your life? You challenge it.
Yeah.
You challenge it and you question it, because we all know what to do. This is one of the things my first ever business coach taught me. So look, you know what to do. You have all the answers. Just need to start implementing it. And we do. And once you give yourself a bigger purpose, you won't need motivation. You'll just do it because you've aligned it to what you actually truly want. So we all know what to do. I love, if we're going to actionable terms, I love the 2 bird, 1 stone approach. We're not allowed to say kill anymore, but 2 birds, 1 stone. So you might have a call that is not a video call. It's just a normal call. Okay, go walk. Go and walk and do it. 2 birds, 1 stone. If you have family, if you have kids, go and join in and play with them on the trampoline or something like that. Find a way to incorporate different areas of your life, but it all is moving towards the same goal.
Yeah, I hear you totally. In fact, I'm actually reading a book at the moment, which isn't a music book. Would you believe?
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm not going to be able to say
it's written
the title.
by a musician. It's got to be written by a musician.
I'm not even going to be able to say the title because the title's a little bit rude, but I'll hold it up to the screen so people can see. There you go. So it's that one there.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
I haven't. No, I've heard of it though.
Yeah. So it's a book by Gary John Bishop. You can go and look up the books by Gary John Bishop, and it's one that starts with something.
Yeah. And ends in yourself.
As in yourself. It's really quite interesting because he talks about being willing. He talks about, are you willing to do this? and he talks about how your whole life is determined by the language that you use within your life. Yeah, and actually, very much the case that we typically. One of the really interesting things, which aligns with what you were saying as well, is he said, you don't think that you're not winning at anything, because he said we are programmed to win. Yeah. We categorically are programmed to win. It's just that maybe at the moment you're winning at all the wrong things. Because you're actually saying to yourself, do you know what? I'm winning at not dieting or not losing weight. I'm winning at, not
gaining weight.
Well. I'm winning at gaining weight. I'm winning at being at this level in terms of my business, etc. I'm just winning at all of those things because I'm not willing to do what it takes to be at a different level. And I haven't given myself, as you say, you haven't given yourself permission to do anything outside of that. You're kind of okay with a situation where, it's there at the moment. And that looks a bit like that could be a bit tricky. So maybe I won't. So, I do suggest that people start thinking about that. I think we need to get our heads into the right space. But also, I was thinking when you were saying that as well, that things like exercise, you've got to give yourself a reason to do it. Isn't there like a midway point in that as well? In that, you're right. If I want to go for a walk today and I say, well, I'm going to take a walk at lunchtime, there's no reason for me to do that. Yeah. Other than unless I change my headset. But couldn't we just go, well, I am going to go for a walk at lunchtime because I'm actually going to meet somebody. If we bring surely part of it could be if we actually bring other people into the equation, then we're accountable. We're accountable not just to us, but to somebody else as well.
Yeah.
So is that something, especially now we're out of lockdowns and things, isn't that part of where we perhaps ought to start coming back to? And this is where sort of society and community and all of those things can come to play and help us, which is start making ourselves accountable again. Start actually bringing other people into the equation.
Yeah, holding yourself accountable is doable, but it is tough. You're more likely to let yourself down than an absolute stranger. You tell the checkout person at the shop your goals, you feel bad now because they know, and the next time you go in, she might ask you how you're getting on. You're like, oh, haven't done it, which is mad, absolutely crazy. But having accountability partners, telling people your goals, they are strategies to help. It doesn't mean that you'll do it, but it can help. And yeah, you used the right term there. You know, we were taken away from all of our real social connections. So when we had it, it was special. Whereas now, one of the biggest things I was preaching right from the start of lockdown is like, this time might be great for your health, but you need to learn still what you were doing wrong when life gets back to normal. Because you'll drop this straight away because you've got to commute again and you've got work and you're tired again. You've still got to learn. And I have a strategy called the life triangle that I use for helping people with balance, which is the 3 key areas of life: health, wealth, and what I call social, family, social. And at any one point, there is a priority. So right now, realistically, our priority would come under kind of like, in a sense, the wealth bracket. It's about our businesses and how we help people. I'm not sitting here panicking that I haven't done my steps or anything like that. And, you know, my kids are at school and off playing and stuff like that. So we have a focus point of priority, but it doesn't mean the other 2 aren't important to me. They are important. And once you understand the balance of not necessarily throwing, like right now, if I tried to put all of them at the top, I'd be talking to you guys whilst doing some push-ups, whilst trying to make lunch for my youngest.
Yeah. Can we do that?
It's not good. We could try to prove that it's not going to go very well. Whereas if I put this as the priority and the other ones I know is important, I'm not going to neglect those. I now have guilt-free decisions. I now don't need to worry about the 2 other areas because I know I've got them under control. And I'm not panicking whether they've been fed or if I've done my push-ups or not. But understanding the triangle and understanding that it moves daily, it moves weekly, it moves monthly, is a skill that is worth practicing, because then you can start making guilt-free decisions. You get asked to work late, but that your work isn't a priority to you. So it's a lot easier to say no guilt-free because you're aligned. You know what you're striving for.
Yeah. What do you feel about gamification? Because I feel that gamification can be quite a strong element in all of this as well. I think, you know, if we actually create games with ourselves, then actually it makes things a little bit easier as well. Do you remember, Steve, when I was out on the road, one of the things I used to do, whenever I stopped at a service station, Shaun, one of my games would always be that I would never eat on the side of the motorway where I stopped. I'd always eat on the other side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Because it means, right, it's a game.
I mean, running across 6 lanes of busy traffic was pretty crazy, Graham.
Pretty mad, right?
Yeah.
No, but it meant I had to get up and I had to go across the bridge, and then it took a little bit longer and it was a bit more of a walk, etc., and a bit more of a stretch. But just little games in the day that go, do you know what? Or, you know, if you go, say you're going to London for the day, which, you know, something that I used to do quite a lot, you'd go, right, I reckon I can walk from here to there quicker than the tube can do it. Yeah, just little games that go, right, I'm going to create this into a challenge. Do you go with that?
Yeah, 100%. You know, if it's fun, we're going to do more of it, right? Yeah. We're going to avoid things that we hate, and we're going to do more things of what we enjoy. And if we can create games with it, yeah, fantastic. We're still child, not only at heart, but in head. How we behave as an adult, a lot of it has stemmed from our childhood beliefs and habits. Most of our habits are formed by the age of 5. And then you have a secondary burst in the teenage years, which is more social element. But we love fun. We love doing what we consider, childhood behaviors, playing games and being silly. But the reason a lot of people don't do that is because of perception, social fear, social threat, social fear of being exiled from the tribe. But we're not in tribes anymore. But we still have that type of behavior. So anything fun, anything rewarding, reward charts as kids, we still love being rewarded. We just reward ourselves with the wrong stuff quite often.
Do you know what, Stephen? I'm just getting a great idea here. What we should do is we should get guests like Shaun and some of the other guests that we've had on before. We should actually publish. We should get everybody just to do one game, and we should publish 101 games for the hybrid worker.
Yeah. Are you copywriting this, Graham, or am I?
Yeah, I'm copywriting that. But it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What a brilliant tool that would be. 101 games for the hybrid worker. We could all just come up with one game. What would your game be, Shaun? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit there, but one little game.
It's not very active, but I'd have to say, sitting at a desk with a bin in front of you, and you've just got the paper, I like a little bit of target practice. A little bit of there you go. See how easy it is.
Yes.
Do you want to know what my game is, Graham?
What?
We've got a dartboard behind me in the playroom, and if I need to leave the playroom / office, I can't leave until I've thrown 3 20s with the same 3 darts.
Nice.
So I can't go. So you've got to keep going, but you're not allowed to leave the ones in that have gone in. You've got to take them all out and start again. So it's like I can't go till I've hit 3 20s. So
wow,
there you go.
Well, but you're right. Actually, even that little one with the bin.
Yeah.
If you just make sure that the bin is far enough. In fact, it could be incremental, couldn't it? So the bin could start quite close day one, and you literally screw something up and throw it in the bin, and then you just make sure that you move the bin a little bit further day two. Yeah. And of course, you've got to, maybe you've got to throw something into the bin that you have to have, like
a negative thought.
No, I was going to say like the boss's figures for the month or something. So you've actually then got to go and retrieve it as well. So it does make you actually physically get up. But I like that. There you go. What do you know, Shaun, about ergonomics? We ask a lot of people that come on what their understanding is.
Honestly, nothing. I caught your last live, so I kind of I had a little Google, as everyone does. But to be honest, until lockdown, I wasn't in an office. I was in a gym, full time. There was no office space stuff. The office was sit on the floor at the gym floor. So it never, you heard, like you guys said in the last one, for me, when I heard ergonomics, like you think of a type of chair you buy, a type of table. But as I quickly looked at, not in too much detail, but it seems more like an environment thing, right? It's the environment that you're creating and in. Is that
we'll go back. Yeah, we'll go back to where the word comes from. So it comes from the Greek terms ergo and nomos. Okay, so it basically means the law of work, and it's really to do with your relationship with work and the way you work and the environment within which you work. So that's why it's one of the things that what you picked up on there straight away. So many people that we talk to, their perception now of the word ergonomic as opposed to ergonomics is that it relates to, it's an adjective, it relates to it's a descriptive word for an object. So that's an ergonomic mug. These are an ergonomic pair of scissors. And these are ergonomic eye drops. Utter rubbish, because it's become a marketing term which has been shoved on the front end of a word. And that's part of the problem that exists or prevails within this industry. Is actually getting people to understand that no, actually there's a science here. The sort of human factor sciences are actually very real, and within that sort of broader science, there's other sciences or other disciplines like things like anthropometrics, which you might be aware of yourself, like fit. The fact that if you were going to wear gear or whatever for a particular sport, or you were going to set something out for a particular sport, it's not just as straightforward as measuring someone. Go, well, you're 6 foot, so therefore you need this, because you might be 6 foot tall, but you might have really short legs and a really long body, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not even standing up, and
and then matey boy over there is completely completely the other way round. So but over the years, what that's meant is that people have kind of designed things that don't necessarily fit people properly, because you'll get a chair, for example, and it will have a set size seat, and everybody in the office gets the same chair. Right. And somebody's got such short legs that the chair's cutting into the back of the leg, so they're sat like that. Right.
But you're right, Graham. Though it's the use of the word ergonomic as an adjective that's really been is sort of caught, is one of the sort of bugbears that we've had, and does cause a lot of problems. There are lots of popular shopping websites. If you go and put that word in, it'll bring back a whole range of product. But like Graham just said, how can a specific product cannot by definition fit everyone? But the impression that it gives by using ergonomic as an adjective is I can go and buy that ergonomic X, Y, and Z, and it's going to solve a whole load of problems. It can't do that, Graham, can it? And this is why the best products out there, A, don't use the word, but B, need to be packed with adjustability. So they can fit, whether it's a chair, whether it's an arm, whether it's a stand, so it can be adjusted and changed to fit round the ergonomics of that individual. But it's, as I say, it's a massive misnomer.
What's really interesting here, Shaun, is and the reason why we're bringing people like you into this program is because actually you're involved in ergonomics.
Right? You just don't know it.
You just don't know it, because actually, if you're helping people in some shape or form in terms of the way that they relate to their work or the way that they relate to their life, and actually you're helping them to, make sense of that, then you are part of that principle. And I can
start charging more now, can't I?
You can now you can start
the ergonomic behaviour change coach. Just put ergonomic in there, you're laughing.
I'm going to try it. And see what happens.
It's going to do it over the next week. I'm now the ergonomic behaviour change coach. Just see. Wow, you'd be like, wow.
But Graham, whenever we have these conversations, it's great what Shaun's been talking about food and diet and all that sort of thing. It always takes me back to that story you told me about an assessment you did a long time ago, where you got to the bottom of it. It turned out it was the dietary behavior that was causing a lot of the workplace physical ailments, wasn't it? And I don't know whether you want to. I know you've mentioned this before, but I always think it's a really interesting story. I don't know whether you want to relay it.
So when I was out assessing, I was sent to see a young lady, 19, who was falling asleep quite a lot at work. And of course, I was sent in to look at the ergonomics. And several people had been in previously and had a look and went, well, the desk seems to fit, and that isn't too far to stretch to that, and that isn't that, and whatever. But, me being me, I just ask a lot of questions. And one of the things I said to her was, do you eat? McDonald's 3 times a day.
Wow.
That'd be that then.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be that.
It's amazing.
She wasn't large. She was a petite person. It wasn't making her gain weight particularly, although it may have been, but in internally, if not anywhere else. But it was certainly filling her full of sugar, and it was certainly making her go woo, woo, woo. And that. So I signposted her to a dietitian who went, well, let's get you off that then. And of course, suddenly she wakes up. But it's for us, that's one of the things that we try and get different people on here every week. And one of the things that's really important is we believe that the answer is in bringing a holistic approach onto the whole thing, and actually getting so many more people involved in this whole area. You know, when it comes to the well-being of people at work, you've actually got to bring in the specialists that are right for each person. You know,
Yeah.
and you would be surprised if I took you around an office doing like where Someone was doing ergo assessments for a day. You'd be so surprised at what you saw in some of the instances. You know,
it's you know, I've had my office time, and I know how I behaved in the office. And it's funny, isn't it? Like, again, exercise and I don't like the word diet, nutrition, I suppose, our eating styles, literally solve 90% of problems. You know, they often say if you could pill up exercise, we'd all take it.
Yeah.
But we often see the problem. The problem is being big. So she's falling asleep at the desk. God, must be something terrible. Whereas actually the solutions to fixing that problem are an awful lot smaller. They just need consistent work. You know, so a lot of it, oh no, it must be her desk, or it must be this. Well, no, actually, if you have a conversation with the person, it's not that big at all. It's okay. Well, there you go, McDonald's 3 times a day. Okay, now how do we get her to change that? And it's like, okay, well, don't eat McDonald's. Okay, probably a slippery slope that's not going to last. But we might.
And let's just say nothing wrong with McDonald's. Nothing wrong with McDonald's. It just wouldn't eat anything 3 times a day. It's just not a good idea.
Yeah. Well, there's a really famous trainer, and he did the McDonald's challenge to prove that you could lose weight on McDonald's. He ate Big Mac, chips, and Coke every day for a month or whatever, and lost weight. Because it's not about the item; it's about where you're over consuming. So yeah, you know, our nutritional habits. But again, a lot of people say, "Oh, nutrition's it's healthy, it's boring." It's not. It's not. Once you understand food a little bit more, and you take the time to just embrace that you get to have all of this stuff, it becomes a lot less restrictive and a lot more enjoyable.
One of the things that we struggle with the most, and we always come back to it, is laptop use, because everybody uses a laptop now. Well, I don't. I've got a big.
So you just basically shot your statement down there in 1 second, Graham. Everyone uses a laptop, except for me.
I do. Well, actually, I do have 2 laptops, and if I do go out, I do use a laptop. But typically, most people are using a laptop. You know, we know that about 80% of hardware sales are laptop based, and yet people do not use them with any kind of accessory. So what we're seeing is, and there's becoming lots of different terms for it: the shrimp, the prawn. You know, the banana, but like most people are sat like this, for the majority of the day, working down there like that, because laptops were never designed to be worked on for long periods of time.
No.
But trying to get people to change that habit is really, really difficult. As someone that's a behavior change coach, how do we start to, and it's a question I've asked a lot of guests, how do we start to get people to change that habit?
It comes down to initially the purpose. If you've got no reason to change, the brain will just move it aside. Or you should do it, otherwise you're going to be curved over. Okay, well, that's a future me problem. That's not my problem now. It's a future me problem. So I don't really care. I can never remember the exact stat, but there's a huge dropout rate of people who are taking medications for their heart and things like that to stop strokes. There's a huge dropout rate of a year because they haven't had one. They haven't had one, so they stop.
This is a pain. Oh, I haven't had one. I'm cured.
Right.
But that's how we behave. So you know, you've got to start with the purpose, and then the habits. We could be here all day about how to form habits, how to eliminate them. But ultimately, you know, it comes down to the reason for doing it, and then how are you going to remind yourself to do it? Because the connection in your brain to lift your laptop up is very weak, whereas the one of flipping it open is very, very strong.
Yeah.
So I've got to now create a brand new connection in my brain that's all fluffy and got no reason. And I've got to remind myself to do that. And that's when you go to, how do I remind myself to do something? How did we remind ourselves to come on here today at 12 o'clock? For me, it's in my diary. So I've written it down in my diary to remind myself to do it. I use something called a daily power list, which is 3 to 5 actionable tasks that I must do every day that is taking me a step towards my goal. I have it in a journal. It sits on top of my laptop. It's the first thing I open. It's a deeply, deeply ingrained habit. I've been doing it for years now. But I needed that initial starting point of that physical accountability to remind myself, Shaun, lift your laptop up today. If you haven't got a stand, put some books on it, lift it up. Because otherwise it's very easy just to go and on. We make over 40,000 decisions a day. Your brain's not just going to take on anything. Yeah. It's not going to take on anything. Half of our day is automated. So like one every 2 minutes is automated.
Yeah, I was learning that in my network meeting yesterday. It's something like crazy amount. 90% of our thoughts for today are yesterday's thoughts. It's mad.
Wow,
it's mad. Yeah, I know.
The human mind is a wandering mind, and the wandering mind is a negative mind.
Yeah,
we have to kind of catch ourselves and bring ourselves back into reality quite a lot, because it does love to wander. It could wander for good, but a lot of the time it's that threat. It's, oh well, what if things go wrong? What if there is a lion outside the cave? What if there is no food? What if we can't make fire? So it often does wander in a way you don't want it to, and once it does, you've got to kind of catch that and bring yourself back into now. Is everything all right? Yeah, it's good.
You've actually given me some great ideas. See, this is what happens when you talk to a creative, right? And this is why I ask the questions. When you talk to a creative, I take that on board and then I go over there somewhere with it. I capture it, it comes back, and I've suddenly come up with a great idea. Stephen, from what Shaun's saying, and he's right, that's the problem, isn't it? People are not going to put something up on a laptop stand because there's no real, what's there to remind them?
Yeah.
Right? Software's not going to do it because they've got to load up that software. I think what we need to do is invent a little thing that goes in between the surface of your laptop and the top, that when you open the laptop, it goes, raise me up, you pillock!
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you know what, Shaun gave that great analogy with the people about I think it was heart attack or stroke, you said, wasn't it, with taking medication? Yeah. And that's exactly what it is, because someone isn't instantly necessarily feeling the pain, as it were, of the sitting in that position. They maybe don't do it, but what suddenly happens is it suddenly creeps up on them, doesn't it? And unfortunately, it can get to the point that it's too late. It's that, because there's no instant impact from that, and as you say, the dropout of medication after 12 months, because they don't see that, they just sort of move on from it. I'm not getting any instant gratification or benefit from this, therefore I'll move on, I won't do it. So therefore, what's the point?
You should get your boss, John, to talk to those companies that make the cards where when you open them, they scream at you, and see if you could create something that fits on the laptop to do the same.
To be fair, Graham, without shamelessly plugging one of our products, we do a laptop stand that sticks on the back, so there's no excuse for forgetting it, because it's always there. So maybe it's just getting more people using the Ultra Stand Universal. Shameless plug, because that obviously sticks, and that's the best. But because it's there, you can't forget it, can you? If it's a separate piece of equipment, you can forget it, and you can relate that to sport and all sorts of things, can't you? If something's there, you use it. If it's a separate bit of kit, it'll get forgotten, or you left it at home or whatever, and therefore it doesn't get used.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, the thing is as well, but even if you had that stand on, it's still hard because it's not normal. I'm now used to looking down. If you're asking me to look up, middle of the back's going to start feeling that. No, I don't like that. I'm coming back down again. Whereas actually, if my purpose is big enough, hey, look, you are going to have some serious issues. You're not going to be able to pick you or play with the kids because you're hungover. You're going to lose your energy. Posture is huge for energy as well. When I start giving myself more of a reason, actually, you know what? Yeah, it's hard today, but I've just got to do 5 minutes, or I just got to do 10 minutes. We spoke about the shooting, a little bit further each time. And then and everything we spoke about, use it and make it a game again. Oh, I got 10 minutes today. Wow, I won something. My dopamine in my brain's going off. I'm now happy that I've achieved something. So it's utilizing what you know about your brain and using it in a positive, more directive way towards your goals, rather than just allowing it to be comfortable, because it can do incredible things.
Yeah.
We just don't challenge it and test it enough. We just accept that this is life, this is my beliefs, this is how I am. And I am statements are really powerful. You know, I am tired. Yep, you're tired. I am energized. Oh, wow, I'm actually feeling quite good. So it's using it for you rather than just being accepting of what it does now currently.
Perhaps, Stephen, you need to talk to some of the companies that do the health insurance.
Yeah.
In the same way, you know, a couple of them, they shall remain nameless. You can have a free Apple Watch for the duration of you staying healthy, so it monitors you, and as long as you're doing X amount of fitness a day, you get to keep the watch. If you slip down, you end up having to pay something every month towards the watch. Clever, you know, and you know, and then you've got, it's a bit like the car apps now, where if you drive carefully, we'll reward you. If you don't, you won't. So it's, you know, maybe you can have the same. Maybe you need to develop something whereby if they put it on the stand, raise the stand up and whatever else, it goes, oh, well done. We're going to reward you with some health insurance premiums going down. And then everybody's a winner. There we go.
Yeah.
Shaun, it's been pleasant and rather wonderful having you here today. We've learned a lot. I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for having me.
No, absolutely. If people want to connect with Shaun on which platforms are you on other than LinkedIn? Obviously, this is going out on a few platforms.
Yeah, so LinkedIn's the main one at the moment. I'm everywhere. So I am Instagram, the behavior change coach, and I think it's the same on YouTube as well. So, you know, I do video content, post content. So I put out a lot. I put out a lot of value. The key element is if you use it, you know, you'll see the change. So it's that actionable element that we're looking for. So yeah, they're the main ones.
And Shaun is available for paid gigs as well, not just the free stuff. You know, because that's the important thing, isn't it?
Got to eat, right?
You got to eat,
Got to
not
eat.
too much, but the right amount.
Know it.
Yeah, absolutely. We will be back again at the same time next week, will we? Let me think about that.
No, we might need to think about that, because I could be. I might be in the air as we're on the air.
Absolutely.
So,
well, we will record something and put something out anyway. But we will be back. And if you haven't subscribed to this yet on Spotify and watched it there, please do. You can find all of our broadcasts at wowergonomics.com. That's a great place to go, catch up and learn something. And until next time, bye for now.